See what I'm saying?
Business meeting to order August 10th, 2022. Notice of this meeting has been duly advertised in compliance with the provision of the Open Public Meeting Law. Please be advised that this meeting is being audio recorded for possible related playback. Everyone please rise for the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call please.
Councilman D'Amico has an excused absence. Councilwoman Hess. Here. Councilman Lankowski.
Here.
Councilwoman Patton.
Here.
Councilwoman Sin.
Here.
President Randolph Sharp has an excused absence. Mayor.
Here. Approval of minutes of council meeting and executive session for July 13th, 2022. Entertained a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess. Yes. Councilman Lankowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sin.
Yes.
Entertained a motion for payment of bills.
Make a motion to review the authorized bills.
I make a motion that the bills have been properly audited and signed for, be approved for payment.
And a second, please.
Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sin.
Yes.
Following reports have been filed and available in the respective offices for review and being included in the minutes. Tax collector's report, sewer report, and treasury report. Second reading, ordinance 2022-12, amending chapter 166 of Acre and Abandoned Properties. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public for any questions or comments regarding ordinance 2022-12. So none, close the meeting to the public and entertain a motion.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-12 be adopted on second reading and published according to law.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess. Yes. Councilman Lankowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sin.
Yes.
Second reading, ordinance 2022-13, amending chapter 46 of the police. Anything, at this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Any questions or comments regarding ordinance 2022-13?
Yes. I was wondering if you could tell me, like, give a brief synopsis of what's being amended?
I'm sorry?
Because it just says there's something being amended. What's being amended?
Do you recognize what's being amended, please? It's a policy, and all that stuff. Looks like the accreditation for the,
This is for the, proposed maintenance.
one.
So, this is for the creation of the deputy chief, right? Captain, keep it as a sergeant.
Right. That's right. Just to make it department, because we put the,
I created a new position, deputy chief, some time ago, so in order to bring the ordinance up to date with what the actual officers are in the police department, it now consists of the chief of police, the deputy chief of police, one captain, we had the chief captain, one captain, 2 lieutenants,
3 deputy chief.
8 sergeants, and 30 patrolman positions.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for detailing that. And can I get a copy of that resolution? Will it be posted or do I need
It's an ordinance. Then it'll be
an
posted.
ordinance?
But it's posted, right?
It's posted? Thank you.
Download the agenda from the website.
Close meeting to the public, entertain motion.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-13 be adopted on second reading and published according to law.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Orzachowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons.
Yes.
Consent agenda, the items listed below are considered routine by the Borough of Lindenwold and will be enacted upon in one motion. There will be no formal discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, they will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Entertain a motion for resolution 22-149 through 157.
I make a motion that resolutions 2022, 149 and 157 be adopted as read.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Orzachowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons.
Yes.
Engineers report, you're up, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have an additional. Entertain a motion for resolution 2022-158, the,
Authorizes an agreement with fleet management leasing from Enterprise for procurement vehicles for the police department.
and second, please. Oh, need a motion.
I make a motion that resolution 2022-158 be adopted as read.
And second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Orzachowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Survey work for the municipal parking lot is scheduled for this week. Base map will be completed after that, designed to follow. The 2022 DOT project Cooper Ave is on tonight's agenda for award, and the 2021 project is scheduled to begin in Lindentown Phase 2 construction starting next week.
Anybody have any questions for the engineer? Thank you, sir. All right. Open the council. Councilwoman Hess.
Thank you, Mayor. I have Lindenwold Public Works monthly report for July. Tons of trash collected, 700.27. Bulk items picked up, 258. Scrap metal picked up, 70. Concrete picked up, 9. Stumps and logs picked up, 3. Property maintenance, 1. Number of injuries, 0. Service calls, 88. Stoppages, 10. Main stoppages, nothing. Emergency calls, 13. Markout, 77. Pump station repairs, 9. Troubled areas jetted, nothing. Pump stations factored, 1. For Laurel Springs, we had 5 service calls, 5 stoppages, 2 emergency calls, and 0 markouts. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The Food Bank of South Jersey is still sponsoring Summer Meals Program until September 2nd. The first stop is from 11 to 11:45 at Crofton Road Park, 2008 Harbor Road, Lindenwold. The second stop is next to Mueller Ice Cream Center, the lot next door at 441 Tuesday Road. That's from 12 o'clock to 12:45. And if you do miss that, you can go to Miguel's Pharmacy, 3123 River Road in Camden, New Jersey, from 1:15 to 2 p.m. That's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Patton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to bring up one thing. I'm just going to ask one more. If we can have extra volunteers for this year. If anyone is interested in joining the public events committee, we actually do need people for the next couple of events. It's not time for August 19th, it's a little late for our car show, but for Lindenwold Neighbor Fest on October 1st, if we can try to recruit as many volunteers this year as we possibly can to help along these public events, it would be greatly appreciated. Just get in contact with me. Thank you.
Councilwoman Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Health Department. On August 4th, the United States declared monkeypox outbreak as a public health emergency. The CDC is tracking the outbreak. If you go to their website, they have a map of the country and they say how many cases each state has. So currently there's 9,492 cases in the U.S. New Jersey has 264 cases. The CDC is working with states and local health departments to identify people who may have been in contact with somebody who has been tested positive for monkeypox. The virus is spreading with direct contact with ration store of someone with the virus, contacting of clothes, bedding, and other items used by a person who has monkeypox, and prolonged face-to-face contact. People who have monkeypox should be isolated until their lesions are resolved, the scabs have fallen off, and a fresh layer of skin has formed. To clear takes 2 to 4 weeks. The COVID update today, we had 8 new residents who tested positive for COVID. NJ.com reports that in the last 7-day average, there is 2,419 positive cases, and this is a decrease of 11% within the last week, but it's an increase from a month ago by 3%. The CDC is also still ranking Camden County as high. So the most recent data we're looking at to rank Camden County is from last Thursday, which came to 11.57%, so anything over 10% they're considering high. So hopefully next time we meet, we can get below the 10%. And then for senior citizens, and really for everybody, the scammers are out there, the fraud calls are going in, and if you get a call from the IRS or Social Security or a live person with Amazon and they're telling you that you owe money, a lot of times it's going to be fraud. Hang up or at least ask them to send a letter. I know somebody at work asked them to send her a letter and they called her a bad word and hung up on her, so she was like, oh, that's fraud. If anyone calls you, don't give your name or your address. They called you. And they say they're from the FBI, IRS, they know your name, they know your address. Just say, send it to me, you already have that information, you don't want to give them much. Also, our senior citizens today, they were raised in a time when they were told they have to respect law enforcement, they have to listen to government agencies, and they have to feel that, you can say no to somebody if they say they're a cop or this or that, but they feel that they have to respect it because of the way they were raised. If they ask you to send gift cards to the IRS or any of them, they don't need your gift cards, it's a scam. Let me see where am I? Okay, so if you owe them a payment and you tell them to send a letter, they're going to know it's a payment. So you don't pay anybody, don't give any information. Unfortunately, I have a family member that has just been scammed and it's a nightmare. Nobody in the federal government helps. Nobody. And it's just so frustrating when you're calling even the National Elder Fraud Hotline. They told me they don't do anything. All they do, they'll report it and they don't investigate it. So who's supposed to help the senior citizens out there? They're getting scammed out of lots of money. And it's disgusting the way it's working. It's just disgusting. So, I mean, I'm very upset about this. And it's just, it's too much going on in my family right now. My father's dying and then this happens. And it's just like, are you kidding me? We can't do any more. So everyone should be calling the credit card bureaus. You can get a block put on your account so nobody opens anything up in your name. And right now, they are letting you get more than one report a year. You can get multiple reports. So you really have to look at all of that. And like I said, it's just heartbreaking when you're calling the feds and everybody's saying, call here, call here, call here. I'm like, you're the FBI, call here, you're here. There's places where I'm calling that, it's just ridiculous. But, so I just want everyone to just watch out. There's so many scams and it's just so sad. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really sorry for what's going on in your life right now.
Thank you.
Hope you guys get better. I just have one thing. I'd like to thank the Wheels of Change. It was an organization that came to do Christmas in July in the park. They gave 380 kids received backpacks, free water ice, gifts for each child. Was also there prizes and toys. I have some pictures of what it was. They also gave away tractor trailers worth of food, 25,000 pounds of food distributed, strawberries, grapes, blueberries, lots of salads, salad dressing, gallons of milk, bread, eggs, fresh herbs, cherries, broccoli, bananas, hand sanitizer, and more. It was a very well attended event, and I just want to say thank you to them for everything they did for everybody here. It wasn't supposed to be as big as it was, but it turned out to be bigger than we expected. So thank you for all that will change. With that being said, before I open to the public, I want to go over the rules one more time, because there are other people. But when we open to the public, you come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You get to say whatever you wish to say. We will not answer you until we open back up to council. So, with that being said, I am going to call the first people by name to come up and come to the microphone. I'm going to start with Trevor, because I don't want Trevor to be last and be knocked out. So,
I appreciate that, sir. I actually prefer to go last because
I'm not asking.
people's questions prompt me to ask additional questions. So, with all due respect,
I'm asking you to go first because you do this to me every meeting. You wait until I close, and then you stand up and say, "Well, I got stuff to say." Please go first. I get the call.
so do I, sir. I have no comment tonight. I don't do anything to you. You close the meetings early after cutting the amount of meetings in half. We used to have 2 a month. Now we only have 1 a month.
Thank you. I appreciate
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
Okay. Mr. Terry.
We're paying the same, right? Diane Terry, 637 Fifth Avenue. Mayor, at the last meeting, when they were talking about the shooting at the park, I'm starting to question if Mr. DiDomenico has actually given us the truth when he says with the police, because he never mentioned it. And you actually said you didn't even know there was a shooting at the park. So as a mayor, how do you know what's not going on in your town? And Sandy, just now you said the elderly were raised to respect law enforcement. Are you saying younger people are not raised to respect them?
No, I'm not saying that.
But that's the way you made it sound.
I'm sorry if that's what you...
Okay, and then
I'll answer after.
also, Mayor, I got a code violation. Okay, so I called Wayne. Wayne doesn't know anything about it. I said, Wayne, this is telling me they did an inspection that I'm feeding wildlife. Okay? This is because the geese came down the street last week. I was in the hospital when it all happened. The cackling hens were outside, always talking about Diane. So Wayne did a little bit of an investigation. He can't find anything in the system. But this tells me he did an inspection on my property. It's got the date and what it's about. So then I checked my cameras. It's ironic that my cameras pick up everything, but no code enforcement vehicle, no person walking up my driveway, walking up my other walkway, inside my garage, above the shed. I have 8 cameras, but he's not there. So is this telling me that someone within code enforcement is telling a new person just write this up? Because I am like the center of attention in our neighborhood. I want it investigated. If Wayne says he's not allowed on my property, he can't, because that's considered trespassing. So I need to know, why was this written?
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Virginia Floyd. I live at 501 Fourth Avenue in Lindenwold. I have about basically the same thing she does with your code enforcement person. Okay? It's 100 degrees outside. I get a citation because my grass is too high and there's grass over my curb. Okay? I'm going to have to cut my grass the Saturday before that. I fell and broke my ankle into a rabbit hole. I can't cut my grass. I'm sorry. He's not taking the fine back. Oh, then he found a list of other things wrong with my house. I don't get it. What? 100 degrees and you're paying people to ride around and just citate people? That's crazy. They can't citation when the snow is 6 inches high and kids can't stand at the bus stop. They have to stand in the middle of the street. That's insane. Totally insane. I have to stand here with a cane because your code enforcement officer thinks, oh, well, let's just write up, oh, her grass is over her grass is too high. Oh, but it's 100 degrees outside. They're so disrespectful. He didn't care. The only thing he kept saying to me was, well, if the cops can't find your house, maybe you'll die. Something will happen to you. That made me feel really good today on the phone. Really good. Gosh. I know my son's not, but it was a pleasure to see the black all the way.
Thank you.
So I haven't been here in a while because I didn't want to come back in front of this council until I could come into this room with a sense of compassion and collaboration and gratefulness. And I find that it is just as hard as it was before to maintain that attitude. I'm grateful for all of the community events that I see happening. I'm grateful for the incremental change that I see in the police department. You know, I'm not surprised by the continued duplicity and retaliation. So, this ordinance 2022-13 states that the mayor will be in charge of the police department and responsible to reporting monthly with the police department and to appropriate authorities. So I just want to echo the concerns of other community members that our mayor might not be the best qualified person for this role. And I think a true leader recognizes their strengths and recognizes when to step aside and let someone else take the lead. I think your clear lack of knowledge of not only what is going on in this town, but also what is needed to repair the relationship between the police department and the community will only perpetuate, the grief that stands between those groups of people. So I really hope that you consider either fully immersing yourself and educating yourself on what it is that the community today is demanding of our law enforcement and of our leadership, or find someone else who can do it.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, close the meeting to the public. And entertain a motion to open back to council. Does anyone from
I'll make the
council
motion.
wish to
I'll make the motion. I'll be back up to the public. I'll go back up to council.
I'm not saying that younger people disrespect the cops. They do, but also some older people do. My mother is 89 years old. She was born in Iowa. She was raised in the Depression. She was raised, you don't talk back to law enforcement, you don't talk to this. This is what I'm talking about. So when this man called her up and brainwashed her to give away a ton of money while my father is dying and everything else, that's what I'm saying. She didn't know she could say to this person, no. She didn't know she could say to this person, hang up on this cop. Yes, he said he's FBI. She is raised not to say those things to the people in those powerful positions. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody in senior citizens, below senior citizen raised ages are disrespectful. I'm saying my experience, what I'm going through right now. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, in regards to your high grass, did you call them when you received the notice?
Yes.
And let them know that you had hurt your ankle and you couldn't get to it
Yes.
right at the moment?
Yes.
You have 30 days to
It doesn't matter. You're paying people money to ride around in air-conditioned cars. It's 100 degrees outside.
you have 30 days to take care of the situation. If you needed help, you could call somebody. If you needed more time, you could call them and they will have to give you more time. We have an administrator here to verify that all of these things.
Oh, I spoke to him. I left him $3,000. He finally answered the phone for me today.
Who was he?
Wayne.
Wayne is the person you told?
Yeah.
And he's the one who said he couldn't do anything about it?
No.
We'll talk to him tomorrow.
Whoever this Tyler is, he's the one doing
Excuse
it.
me. Please make it a call. As far as the police department, I have no say over what happens at the police department whatsoever, except for the fact that I can control hours. It says that the mayor is in charge of the police on the ordinance, because that's the way it's written. But the police department is run by the police department themselves, by the chief. We have no say other than directing, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilor, we only direct we can set hours of operation. and we really don't even get involved with that. As far as the shooting was concerned, I'm sorry, but I never heard about it, and I was never notified, none of us were. So, yes, we didn't know about it, but when we did, we took care of what the residents needed and what they wanted, and it was taken care of right away. So with that, I'd like to ask also, Mr. Shaw, if it's possible, you made some statements a while back about that if we put signs up, that you would make sure that your committee would take care of putting flowers around them and clean around them and all that stuff, and nothing's been done. I'm concerned about that. So same thing with the Laurel Lake, we put a bench on down there that you asked for, and that you said you would maintain and make sure it's well grown, and we've had to cover it a couple of times. And also the basketball court, we had an issue with the basketball court. We were waiting for you to tell us who this person was that was going to come and do the design and all of these things, and we haven't heard anything. Now, we're kind of strapped for getting this done now because we can't find anybody to do it. The stuff that has to go down is a different kind of material. It's not just painted on with a brush and a roller. It's got to be done with, I guess Craig said something about squeegees and it's squeegee on. So it's not done like that. So I kind of told him, I said, if you can find anybody to just paint the basketball courts, put it back to the way it was, make it look brand new, to do that. Most of the people that I talked to that play basketball would rather have just the basketball court there than designs that are going to take away from the game. So that's what I instructed him to do. I just wanted you to know.
Do I get a chance to respond to your questions or not?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank the police department for the N&O event. I think it was amazing. We too gave away thousands of items. I won't list them all, but to address your questions, we're more than happy to help you with the patches of ground around the Welcome to Lindenwold signs. They were certainly a welcome sign. It was a long time in coming, and anytime you guys are ready, we can have the flowers provided and install those. We were waiting on you and Craig to provide ultimate buy-in and authority to do it. I know Craig indicated that we had permission, but there's been no further communication on that since then. As far as Laurel Landing, sir, that is a piece of public property further indicated and bona fide by the fact that you guys installed a public bench there. So at the end of the day, Public Works would be responsible for cleaning that area. If you'd like help from the citizens of this community to help with that effort, we would certainly help as we did the first time. We brought in 4 tons of mulch, cleared the property so that you could install that bench. We'd be happy to follow up, sir. You just have to ask. Finally, on the basketball court, sir, that was your design back in 2017. You guys collectively came up with the idea to put a design on that basketball court collectively with Craig Wells. At the end of the day, you did not like the design that the artist submitted. It was a starry night in image. You yourself, and as well as Dawn and Cheryl, all indicated to me that while the design was nice, that it itself took away from the basketball court. I have since provided numerous videos of how this product gets applied and different designs that would be appropriate that other towns across the country, not just in New Jersey, but across the country have done. More than 2,600 basketball courts in different artistic things. We've enlisted the school district. The superintendent is on board to have the students submit designs that then get applied to the specifications of the product itself. That can all happen in a moment's notice. We just need further buy-in from you guys to make that happen. You've had the money in the budget since 2017. We've understood now you've augmented that to cover the increase in cost since COVID. If you guys are ready, we're ready. Just say the word. Let's make it happen.
You can't find anybody to do it now.
Okay.
All the schools are getting done, and it's got to be done in the summer. That's what we were told. All right, with that, I need to turn
It can happen if you simply ask.
Sorry, no more
I
discussion.
didn't have the opportunity to respond to your comments.
There is no response.
I'm just going to read this New Jersey
All right,
statute.
anything
The mayor
else
shall be
for
elected, the
adjournment,
police
please?
department shall have the power to appoint, suspend, and
Second.
terminate all employees
All in
of the
favor?
police department